Welcome to JoJo's Infinite Universe, where we dive deep into the realm of infinite possibilities. I'm JoJo, your guide on this transformative journey, where we share people's experiences to realities they didn't feel were possible. Have you ever felt stuck, lost, or overwhelmed by life's challenges? Well, you're not alone. But here's the secret: those experiences hold the key to unlocking your inner superpowers. Join me as we experience how self love can turn trauma into triumph and how embracing life's magic can lead to a world of endless potential. Get ready to rewrite your story and unleash the superhero within. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you don't miss an episode. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share to spread the message of empowerment to others. This is JoJo, and the adventure starts now. Hello, beautiful souls. When me and my next guest get together, our energy has effects on technology, and I'm not surprised this episode has glitches I can't fix. So please bear with the parts where the syncing of the tracks seem off and we're talking over each other. This did not occur when recording. Thank you for your understanding, and I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to JoJo's Infinite Universe. Today I have an extra special guest. I have Stacey Martin, one of my closest friends. She's also my Reiki master who trained me in a lot of my beginning parts of my spiritual journey. And she has such an amazing story that I feel like we should share and show how, how difficult things in our life catalyze us to the next part of our journeys. Welcome, Stacey. I'm so glad you got to join us today.
Hi. So nice to see you, Joanne.
So, I want to first start off with, you know, anyone who has, spiritual or psychic gifts, it seems like they always have to have some type of catalyst to kind of propel them into that part of the journey. Can you, tell everyone kind of what got you to start diving into your spiritual gifts and how that progressed you into some of the things that you've done afterwards?
Okay. So I guess before we get to the catalyst, I've always had this my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I had something like ESP, I guess, but when I was younger and even a teen, we didn't have Google. So I couldn't look it up. And I would dream about the whole next day and in vivid color and conversations in exact words. It was like a big deja vu, but I was able to have the entire day and see that. And I said something to one of my friends, and I said, "Well, don't you already know that?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, doesn't isn't that how you work?" She goes, "You're crazy. Like, what are you talking about?" So I really then felt out of place because I didn't understand what was going on. And so um, I like wished it away. I wished my gifts away because I didn't understand it. Nobody knew what I was talking about. Like, I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. Like, no more of my friends about that. But I couldn't have a readily available place like Google to tell me what was going on. So
Mm-hmm.
I sort of shut it down when I was like 16 years old. And it did not, I always had the intuition still, but I wasn't seeing dead people. I wasn't seeing the next day and all that kind of stuff. Um, until everything shut down until I lost my daughter. And once I lost her and the devastation and the trauma hit of that just really brought everything back, flooding back like 1,000,000%. And I was like, what is going on? I didn't understand all of it. Because I've always had the gift, but I just really tried to shut it down, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I lost her, it was just like the floodgates opened and there was no stopping what was happening. So then I started seeking out spiritual teachers, I guess, to understand because it wouldn't stop.
So so when you started going through tapping into these gifts, what type of teachers, what kind of helped you tap in and fine tune some of your skills?
So my good friend Jen, she became my Reiki master. So she helped me understand what was going on. And then I sought out some psychic mediums. Um, started going to Lilydale in New York and started to try to find a core group of people that I trusted to do that, because you can find some people that are very disingenuous,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to really watch out for that. They say they have gifts and they don't, and it's a money racket, and they prey off of your emotions. So you really got to be careful.
Oh, I
I
agree.
was very, yeah, I was very lucky, and I found a lot of great people on my journey.
Yes, yes. It's almost like everybody's guided. I always say like for instance, just the way I found you, I was always kind of pulled to learning Reiki even before I even knew what Reiki was. It was kind of like, you need to learn this. And I'm like, I don't even know where. And we lived in, I lived in small town PA at the time. There weren't like Reiki masters or psychics or anything even available. So the fact that the universe even connected us to was like pure miracle in itself.
There
Because I
was.
know if it wasn't for you, myself, like you've touched me in such a way that has been able to open up and make me be able to trust my gifts. So I can imagine what you were going through, and that those people really helped give you that comfort and knowing that you weren't going crazy.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going nuts. So um it was really nice to be like, no, everything's fine. We just got to teach you how to control it, because it was natural. Like it came natural
Hmm.
to me. So um I just had to learn how to control it. So I guess the biggest thing that I like to say is, when you have your psychic abilities or your mediumship abilities, um, you got to really go through the information. You know, you don't just blurt out whatever comes out. It's almost like if you have a big commercial fishing net and you take it to a lake and you're dredging the bottom of the lake, you're picking up everything. You're picking up tires, bike parts, old fishing rods, car parts, all these different kinds of things that are irrelevant when you were just shopping or you were just fishing for like bass,
Hmm.
you know? And so you really got to decipher the information. So I found people that were able to help me separate that out.
That's great. So, with once you started, harnessing your gifts, you have done so many other things with them that most people would be like, when you told me that you were helping law enforcement find missing people, I was like, wow, how the heck did she get started with that? So, so yeah, how did you get started with that? Can you explain a little bit what you did with these cases that you were able to help the police department?
So I actually got hooked up with this lady named Jen Schaefer. She's wonderful. She helps law enforcement, and she has um, this team called Impartial Witness. So I was on part of the team, and we would just get like a name and things like that, and not very much information. But I would prefer not to have the picture. I just wanted to go off the name and the vibration of the name and see what I got from there. So I didn't want to be jaded in any kind of way. So she had connections with the police department, and then a group of us would get together and we would all just give our information. And then the police department would go from there with the information that we would give.
And you
So that was
and
pretty
you've
cool.
had some pretty good I mean, success is probably, I don't know if that's the right word to use, because most of these people weren't found in a great way at the end, but you gave a lot of families some closure, which is just as
Yeah,
much
as a
healing.
team, we did really well.
Hmm.
Yeah, as a team, I think we did really well. So that was really
Yeah,
nice.
that's a great thing to be a part of. Um,
Yeah.
so you've also, had the opportunity to work with some well-known, I don't know if the proper term is ghost hunters, but with some people who study paranormal. Is there any kind of experience with that that's kind of like stuck out for you?
Um, I've I've become friends with a lot of great paranormal investigators that are really in it for the right reasons,
Mm-hmm.
and they bring a lot to the field. Um, it's really nice when they ask you for your take on the situation from a mediumistic kind of point of view. So that's pretty cool. I did an investigation in an old house, but I wanted to do it remotely first to make sure I had the right location. And that was pretty cool, is to remote view in. I really enjoy that. That's something I really enjoyed doing.
Did you have any like really unique experiences that you could share?
I feel so one of the unique experiences was you're always growing as a medium and things like that. And I connected with this lady, but she was not very nice in this house, this old house that I was in. And instead of shutting myself down and protecting myself, I kept myself open while I was walking. And I literally got thrown and broke my wrist and my arm in 3 spots.
I remember that day when you told me about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and I thought I tripped, and the people there, I had 3 other people behind me, and they're like, no, you were thrown. So, yeah, it was a big experience for me and a big learning experience of how not to keep myself open.
I bet.
We're always learning, because we sort of walk around just wide open, and we can't do that.
No.
We have to learn to shut down, I guess, because it's just part of us. So that's just part of us, and we got to learn sometimes to shut down part of that.
Yeah, I find that like it's very easy for other energy to attach. So yeah, protecting your own energy field is super important. I've learned very much over, especially over the last few years.
Very much so.
Yeah. It seems like the more you tap in, the more you have to protect yourself. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I think you can access different levels, different planes and things like that. And when you do that, um, it's very important to protect yourself even more because you're opening yourself up.
Yes. So when I first met you, you had this small little boutique shop in Central PA. Was like one of my favorite places to be. The energy there was amazing. But you had created this wellness center in there as well, where you had brought in all these different types of people, from energy healers to tarot card readers. We had numerologists, and I've taken so many classes through that wellness center, between
Data
theta
healers.
healers, crystal. We learned about crystals and herbs and like a whole bunch of different things. What guided you to start that? And because you've touched so many people just in that one little endeavor, like what was the piece of it that you enjoyed the most, or what is the one achievement that you feel that was part of your journey and your stepping stone to the next part of your journey?
So I really felt so it all started like years before that when I was very, very ill, and I was a teacher, and I thought I would retire teaching, and I was very, very ill, and I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and I was going into cardiac arrest in the classrooms. Um, and I had to leave teaching, and I was very ill. I was given 6 months to live, and I was on 66 pills a day. And at that point, I was definitely rock bottom. And I'm sitting there on my bed filling my pill cases. and my intuition, or whatever you want to call it, was telling me to look into essential oils for my pain. And I was like, what was that? Like, it still threw me off guard. I was very much in the beginning part of my journey, and I'm just sitting there again, and I just ignored it. And then I hear it again, like, look into essential oils. And that just like totally stopped me from crying. And I started this time, now I got on Google and I started looking up essential oils. It was right when doTERRA came out, and I didn't know anything about essential oils at the time. And so I started looking up, like, what are essential oils? And, I started finding out it can help with pain and all that kind of stuff. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, like, you're so taught with big pharma that that's the only way. And so I started researching essential oils and herbs. And I was blown away with the abilities that it had. And so I started ordering essential oils and herbs and started messing around with them. And I started creating something for my pain. And that was called Falling Apart. And it's all natural essential oils. And it took away my pain. Stuff that I was on 800 milligrams of Celebrex a day, and it took away my pain. And I was like, oh, there's no way. This is like a placebo effect. This is not for real. So I had friends try it, and they're like, holy shit, Stacey, this is actually
It's
amazing.
really good product.
So that started, thank you. So that started everything. It started with the whole essential oil journey, and then the essential oil journey turned into Reiki, turned into theta healing, turned into IET, and like, they sort of all culminated together and synergistically worked. And so then I wanted to offer this to other people. I really wanted to. I mean, the product was doing great. I made essential oil sprays that were Reiki charged, shaman blessed, and to help people. But the pain reliever was always my core. And then I had extra space in my boutique, and I wanted to make a wellness studio, a place where people could come and learn, people like me in Central PA that had no clue what was going on with them. And that's what we created. And I absolutely loved it. I loved the teaching part of it because I couldn't teach anymore in the classroom, but now my classroom is different. And I got to meet some really cool, amazing souls and help them, and that they helped me in different parts, as well, to help grow. And I just loved it. And then, we built this amazing center. We had people coming in, and all of a sudden, Spirit's telling me, close down your store. And I'm like, why should I close down my store? What are you talking about? Like, things are going really well. Like, I literally just built this
oh my God
center. Yeah. And I'm being told, close it down. And this is bullshit. Like, why would you have me create this and then tell me to shut it down? And so I ended up listening because it got so loud. And then, when things get really loud, then they start getting difficult because you're not listening. So things start getting difficult. So I decided to shut it down because things were getting loud, things started getting difficult. Talked to my landlord, which was amazing. He was an amazing person and let me out of my lease 3 years early. And I closed it. Once I decided to close it down, then all this money started rushing in. And I'm like, what is going? Now you're telling me to close it down, and now the money is rushing in. Like, what is going on? So I ended up closing it, and I'm pretty bitter at this point. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why? Okay, I listened, but I don't understand why. So I focused on my essential oil business, and I grew that to 700 stores globally, and things were going really well. And then March of 2020, which was almost just after a year, the COVID hit, the pandemic hit. and everything shut down. And if I didn't shut my store down, I would have been $48,000 in the hole, and my entire essential oil
Crashed.
business would have
Mm-hmm.
came to an end. Yeah. So I'm like, holy shit! They could not have told me that it was going to be a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have listened. So I would have been like, what are you talking about? So I mean, I'm thankful that I
Yeah,
listened.
I found that it's
So
interesting that the I've after I went through a lot of my parts of my journey, I found that the more I listened to my intuition and my gut and didn't listen to my logical brain, it always ended up working so much better. But it's really that leap of faith, right? You really need to trust in your higher self, the universe, whatever you want to call it, to be able to take these big leaps, because when you take them, the rewards are like you could never have planned it for yourself. Like there's no way you would have been sitting there if your business was
never.
doing well. You would have never changed. You would have never flipped. You would have never gone on the different journey. And even though as humans we still are resistant, which I'm still like, come on,
Yes.
you told me to do, like you said, you told me to do this. I'm doing it now. Where's the like? Where is it? Where's the signs? Um, it all happens in divine timing. Like everything happens exactly when it's supposed to
Yeah.
happen.
It's crazy. And since that time, I've seen that happen over and over and
Yes.
over again for
Yes,
me.
that's the one thing I
It's
try to
just
teach
amazing.
people is to just trust.
You know?
Trust yourself. The more you trust that inner intuition, the more it it's always like energy goes where you're focused. Like, what is it? Where you focus, energy flows, because it as long as you're focusing on that, it just, like I said, continues to reap the rewards and the benefits. You start believing more in yourself, and you don't have as much worry or stress because it's always going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. My business was doing really well until they started talking to me, and then it started going a little bit down, and I'm like, what is going on? And, it's just, I went to Salem, Massachusetts for 5 weeks, made $22,000 working
Hmm.
at their, during October, and I came home and nothing sold at the store. I paid two employees their paychecks, the overhead, my fixed expenses, everything took all that money. And there I was after busting my ass in my mid 40s, setting up on the street every day, trying to, make all this money, so proud of myself that I made that money. And then once I paid all my bills and employees and everything, it was all gone. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Like the only person working hard here is me, and then I have nothing to show for it. So, and that's when they were making it really, really hard. That was in November. And by January 1st, I closed, so
Yeah.
it just
It's
got
funny
so
you say
loud.
that, the loudness, because when
Hmm.
I was when me and Jack had first met, like we were trying to go super slow, right? And we're like, we want to take our time, we want to enjoy each moment, we don't want to rush getting married, all this. And the voice in my head kept saying, you need to get married, you need to get married. And I had no proof at that point why I needed to get married. And then we thought he needed a knee
Right.
surgery, and we're like, all right, dude, we just get married, it's cheaper to put you on my health insurance. Needless to find out, the next month we find out he had cancer, right? Like if I wouldn't have listened, I wouldn't have got him on my
That's
insurance to
insane.
cover his cancer treatment. So sometimes you just got to listen to it even when it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
yes. And I've really learned that. Like just recently, um Dale, my husband, he was a technology administrator at a school district, and he's been there for 13 years maybe. But he's been in education for 25. And, he was very unhappy with what he was doing. Things were promised and not followed through with on the school district's end. And so he was becoming very, very disenchanted with the whole thing. And he was really liking the tattoo end, which is what I'm in now, I'm skincare formulator for the tattoo industry. And he just loved the whole scene. He loved the vibe. He just felt very much in his element. And he's like, I want to retire. And I'm like, dude, like, we can't do it right now. My slow season starts like November 1st to like April, pretty much. And I said, just wait till March, till the shows start. You can leave your job then, you know? So we had discussions. We agreed upon March of this year. And one night we're at a show. It's like the end of October, and I can't sleep. And it's finally 4 o'clock in the morning. I roll over, and he gets up to go to the bathroom or something. I'm like, God, I haven't slept all night. I don't know what's going on. Something's keeping me awake. He goes, well, I guess I better tell you. And I said, what? And he goes, I just resigned from my job. I just retired. I was like, shitting me. That's not what we agreed upon. So I started freaking out. And so the next day, like all my artists that travel with me and stuff are trying to calm me down and all this kind of stuff. And I'm at the show, and there's this psychic lady there who I met probably 6 months prior. And I'm standing there waiting for this other psychic girl who I'm friends with. And the lady starts talking to me, and I'm horrible with names. I'm horrible with faces. And she starts talking to me, and all of a sudden, like, oh, so, and she was great. She gave me a reading. I gave her a reading. And she's like, I'm like, well, I'm not going to wait for this other girl. I'll come see you. So I went to see her, and I sat down at her table, and she goes, quit worrying. You're not going to lose your house. And I just started bawling because I thought, like, that's what I was so afraid of. I was so afraid that I was going to lose my house. I was going to lose everything. And I had seen it happen the night prior. So she really put my mind at ease. But as soon as that happened, it's like he shut the door, we shut the door. And then all this abundance and prosperity and synchronicities started happening that were not happening before. I felt like I was really working hard and not making a lot of I was making a lot of progress, but not as quickly as I wanted to. But as soon as he resigned and retired from his job, all this stuff started happening. People started coming in and being salespeople, social media, like artists, like just coming to help me on my journey. It was amazing, but I didn't want to listen.
So, I mean, that.
I was fighting it the whole way.
Oh, I know. I remember.
Yeah.
You called me too about that. I remember you saying that. So with that, like, since you said about that, some people say, psychics, why do psychics need to see psychics? Right? If you know everything, why do you need to go see a psychic?
Yeah, I can tell you.
From my
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, from my perspective, it's almost like the universe only wants to, number one, give you certain things, but you also need the validation. I don't know if that's, kind of how you see it. Do you see it in a different way?
So the universe still gives me, I get what the psychics get, but I don't believe it because it's coming from myself, for myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I believe it when so it's objective or it's subjective when it's for somebody else. Do you see what I'm saying? Like
Correct.
I'm not attached to the information. Whereas for myself, I'm definitely attached to the outcome. I'm attached to the information. So even though I'm getting it, I'm like, oh, am I making that shit up? Like, is that real? So I see other psychics to validate what I'm already getting. And then spirit is like probably like banging their head like, oh my God, this bitch doesn't listen for shit. So
well,
how many times do we have
have
to
another
tell her?
I know. And we have another example of that, because for everyone who's listening, if you've listened to episode 1 and 3, I talk about my journey through after my husband had passed and him saying he was coming back. And Stacey is the one who actually got the same vision. So I relied on her vision to keep me from thinking I was going crazy and that I was just making stuff up in my head, because I was like, yeah, all right, you're grieving, of course you're going to make up shit in your head to make yourself feel better. but it was your vision that kept me grounded and saying, nope, if I was going crazy, Stacey wouldn't have seen it too. Stacey wouldn't
Yeah.
have been a part of it.
And I told you,
So
I
yeah,
told you stuff before you told me, and it was like the stuff that you were like. I
yes.
told you a timeline, and I told you a number, but I didn't know if it was weeks, months, and you're like, "Oh, it can't be weeks. No way. I will never be ready." And then it
Yep,
ended up
because I
being
saw the
weeks.
same thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw the same thing. Like it was just insane that we had the same vision. And there was, lots of different things that you helped me validate my own visions during that part of my journey. So it's not that psychics don't necessarily get the information. It's just we need validation to understand whether or not it's our own
Wishful
wishful
thinking.
thinking or trauma response, right? Like it could go either way. It could be a good thing or a
Yes.
bad thing, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice to have validation.
It's because we're attached
Um
to the outcome, and also too, I think part of
mhm.
your whole journey was if it was what, 17 weeks or something. I don't hold on to the
18.
information. 18.
18
Okay, I don't
weeks.
hold on to the
Yep.
information. So it was 18 weeks. So what are other people going to think? Do you know what I'm saying? That was a
Mhm.
huge part of it. You're like, I can't.
Yeah.
I love him so much. I can't get past that. And what are other people going to
Not in that
think? And
time.
I'm going to lose.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm going to lose all these people that are part of my family now that were attached to Jack. And so that was a big part of it too. Is
Yep.
other
But I
people's
had to
preconceived
learn to
notions?
trust and let it go and not care about what other people think. That was like some of the biggest lessons I had in not caring and learning to do what was right for myself in the
Yeah,
process.
you do that so much better than I do. Letting go of other people's.
Only because I've had that trauma. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for the whole, like when you're a grieving widow, right? Like you do things that other people might not understand, like crying in fucking public, right? So so you just have to learn to embrace that people are never going to understand you, and that's where I learned all that from, and that just means widows, everyone. Like nobody ever really sees the true you and what you have to experience. So there's no way anybody, the only time people are judging me is based on their own beliefs, so they can take it
Yeah,
or
and
leave
I've
it.
always tried to be a people pleaser, and I've
um
learned through this whole journey with being in the tattoo industry, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like I'm done pleasing everybody else.
no, I just try to
Yeah,
please the universe. That's it, the universe and my higher self. That's all I really
yeah,
care about anymore.
absolutely.
So you touched a little bit on your
Okay.
new business. So your essential oils transitioned to this new
Yes.
endeavor. Do you want to talk about what you're doing now? It's
Sure.
so exciting. I'm so before you even talk, I want to say how proud I am of you, because you are doing things that scare the shit out of me. Like where you say about me doing things that people don't care, you diving into being self-employed and not have, you know that, even though it's an illusion of security when you're, in the corporate world, that's still a super scary thing for people to break out on their own and risk it all for themselves. So I'm super proud of
I
you for
don't know
everything
if it
that
was
you've
really
done.
me because I had Dale's income. So I felt okay, and then when Dale like decided to leave his income, I like
Yeah.
shit myself, like I was very, but so maybe it was more Dale because I'm very much about security, and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So that's very hard for me. But during once I closed my store kit, um, people weren't ordering. Those 700 stores weren't ordering because their shops were closed, right? So, but I was okay because Dale was still getting a paycheck, and I could tinker around a little bit in the lab because I could just sit back and enjoy myself, and I absolutely loved it, not having my mind race and all this other kind of stuff. So my cousin called me and said, "Hey, Stace, do you make a beard or a tattoo oil or anything?" I said, "No." And he's like, "Well, do you want to?" I'm like, well, yeah, I can work on it or something. So I I was, that happened. And I just sort of sat on it a little bit. And then my husband was at the island counter and he had a tin of tattoo balm and he just got fresh tattoos and he was putting it on. And as a skincare formulator, I picked it up and I looked at the ingredients and I said, oh my God, this stuff is shit. Like, it clogs your pores. It's not good for your skin. It's just putting a barrier on top of your skin. And he goes, well, then do better. I was like, fine, give me a week,
That's the universe.
Right.
The universe telling
Yeah.
you your
So I went
your
down
next
there. It took me
journey.
about a week. I came up and he's like, Stace, this is amazing. And after like 9 days of him using it, his tattoos went from a very dull gray to looking black again, like as if they were freshly done. And these tattoos were like 10 years old. And he's like, Stacey, you got something here. This is amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how the whole tattoo journey started, how I shifted from the essential oil sprays and things to the tattoo industry. Now I use essential oils in my products. Everything's all natural and organic. So I used all that knowledge and then into the tattoo industry. But what is crazy, what really blows my mind is like, so think about the tattoo industry. It's art, right? Like it's all art and it's technique, it's skills,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
I had the retail end and I had the wholesale end because I was selling these stores. Well, now I do retail and wholesale to tattoo shops and things. But I was an art teacher and I have a master's in art. And I did art gallery shows with
Mm-hmm.
my own personal art. And so now I have an art background coming into a tattoo industry. So everything set me up for where I am now. And it's insanity. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yep.
Like, you know, um, it was when I first came into the industry, people were very hesitant. They're very suspicious. They see a lot of aftercares come and go. And when they came in, when I came in, they're like, who are you? And I said, well, I'm a skincare formulator. They said, well, I want to buy my stuff from a tattoo artist. I'm like, what does majority of tattoo artists know about skincare? He's like, well, I don't care. I just want to make
Mm-hmm.
my stuff. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense, okay? And he's like, well, you don't know what you're talking about with tattoo stuff. And I'm like, okay, so you're a tattoo artist. Did you go to school for art? And he's like, well, no. I said, well, I have my master's in art. I've been all over the country with one man gallery shows. I've been juried in art galleries and things like that. Does that make me more of an artist than you? No, it doesn't. Do you know what I'm saying? So he was trying to put me in this hole. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I sort of shut him down. And then, I was sick of validating myself all the time in the industry and I just stopped doing it. I'm like, they'll see that I'm here. They'll see my product's good. They'll finally try it. And then I will stop getting all this sort of backlash. And that's what happens. But, at first I had to really try to validate myself. And then that's not who I am. I'm not a person that needs validated like that. Why am I trying to do that? So I stopped and it really then started to take hold.
And then you created your
Yeah,
own tattoo team.
we have about 35 artists
So you
all over the country. We just got picked up one from United Kingdom. And, we have a whole team of people. We have social media, we have salespeople, we have artists, it's amazing. We have the models, we have our whole Urban's Edge Vixen models. So that's great.
but like you said, it's crazy. Like everybody seems to want to focus on what they want in the future, right? Which is never ever you don't ever know if you're actually ever going to get there. But if you just follow the little guidance every day, you'll get to this end point. Like for you, you said you have the art, you learned how to do the essential. It's
Yeah.
like the universe was creating what you needed to be up until this point. Yeah, I felt the same thing
Yeah.
with like I've been in healthcare forever, from all aspects of healthcare. I've done the healing and the spiritual journey. And because of all this knowledge, I'm able to help people heal. Not just mentally, but physically without any kind of pharmaceuticals at all, which has been, shocking
Yeah.
to me, to say the least. But my clients are even more shocked at what I'm capable of doing. And it's all because the
Oh, yeah.
universe puts you exactly where you need to be throughout your life. Even with this traumas and the other things that I've had to experience, like how can I help somebody with domestic violence if I've not experienced domestic violence? If, same with grief, if I didn't lose people, especially, the hardest love of your life you'll ever lose is your true partner, right? So experiencing that so I can help someone else, and the list goes on. I've had lots of different experiences that have allowed me to understand people and not judge people, and just be able to help them. So it is, when you look backwards, it's like, wow, I didn't really have to plan anything. I worried so much about control and how to make things happen, but if once I let go of the control and I said, all right, I'll just make the decisions every day as the opportunities come up. And like you said, if it wasn't for your one friend who asked about the beard and tattoo stuff, you might not have formulated this. And this, like, you're blowing up. Like, I watch all the stuff that you're doing at the
Thank you. My
conventions
biggest
and
lesson right
online,
now
and
that I'm trying to work
I'm
through is the haters.
overjoyed for your
The
success.
people that told me that I wouldn't last 6 months, and I've surpassed them, or that I'm taking over, and sponsoring 30
Oh,
tattoo conventions this year. The haters are just incredible.
well, that means you're successful, sweetheart, because if the more
Thank you. I'm
successful
trying.
you
I'm
are,
trying
the
to
more
let that
haters you
go.
get. So look at them like badges of honor because you've made it. Like if you weren't, like, there's not one person.
Yeah. If I
Yeah.
was
Just
beneath
like I
them, they
said, look
wouldn't
at it as a
care,
good
right?
thing, because like I
Yeah.
said, if you weren't successful, people wouldn't hate you.
Right. That is just such an imbalance in my head because I'm not a nasty person. I'm not a mean person. I'm a very loving person, but then you hate me. Like
Oh,
that's where my disconnect is, and I'm still learning.
it's not that they hate you. Yeah, it's not that they hate you. They hate some part of themselves. It has nothing to do with you and has everything to do with them, and
Yep, that's the
not about you at
programming.
all.
And, no matter where we are on our journey, we're always learning, always evolving.
That
There's something that
programming.
we could always get better at. And that's where I'm at. I'm at I need to learn to not give a fuck, you know, and just keep doing what I'm doing.
You're in the
So,
industry of not giving a fuck.
yeah.
So, since you're in the tattoo
Yes.
industry, what's your favorite tattoo?
Yeah.
You just got a new
Yeah.
tattoo. You
So,
got your
my social
emblem
media, oh, I can't
for,
describe
so
it this way, but
you have
my
Urban
social,
Edge.
my social media
You got your
guy, I
emblem put
can't do
on
it, but
you.
my social media guy ended up
Oh,
getting it on his middle finger for all my haters. And he
yep.
got the first, he got the first
That's
Urban's Edge tattoo. And I'm like, oh, Randy, like now I have to go get a tattoo. So then he got it, my husband got it, I got it, my sales girl got it. Like there's like 5 or 6 of us now that have the Urban's Edge. It's like a badge of honor. So it's crazy.
that's awesome.
So you could go to
That's awesome.
Urbans with an
So, do you
S,
want to tell
Edge
people like how to
tattoo.com,
find you?
and you'll be able to see us there. You'll see where our shows are. We're traveling across the United States right now. Tomorrow we head towards Missouri for Carnival of Ink, and where we're a sponsor there. And then after that, we go to Pittsburgh, Monroeville for it's called Tacos. It's tattoos and tacos and booze, I think, or tacos, tattoos, and booze. So it's a great event, and We have a big representation of artists at this
You all
show.
have to send
so
some of my
great.
Pittsburgh people there. So if there's anybody that's listening that wants to try Urban's Edge products, you can use my discount code JoJo's Infinite Universe to get 10% off any of her products. I only use Stacey's products on all of my tattoos. As you can see, I just got a new one, so I've been using it on that. She also does a really cool numbing balm called Kamikaze.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because it's
Yeah,
unique
so a lot of
compared to some of
artists
the
have
other numbing
problems
balms that you have to
with
put
their
on and
clients
leave
using
on for a
pre-numb.
couple,
They won't
time
tattoo you
beforehand.
because it
You want
makes
to
the skin
explain how
very
yours
spongy
works?
to tattoo, so it affects their art. So a lot of artists are getting to the point that they're like, look, if you put pre-numb on, I'm not going to tattoo you. So I created something called Kamikaze that has CBD in it, but it also has lidocaine in it. And it has a different type of lidocaine that only works once you penetrate the skin barrier. So it's not a pre-numb, but once they start lining and doing the lines of the tattoo, the lidocaine and the CBD go deep down into the skin, and then it gets into your bloodstream and starts numbing your skin. So it also keeps the redness, inflammation out of your tattoo, so you can sit 3 times longer with Kamikaze than you would normally without something that pre-numbs. 2 hours. Yes, as a glide. Yeah, it's what they use instead of Vaseline
So
or
you
Inkies
would
or
get it
anything
and you
like
would give
that,
it to
and
your
it really helps the
tattooist to
client
use
because the
versus
inflammation and all that swelling
as a
and redness
glide.
is what really bothers you so much. And the needle burn. I can't stand the needle burn with my health issues. The needle burn drives me crazy. So that really,
And I haven't seen another product on the line that works in that way.
I don't have grit in my products, and it seems like people are having issue with trying to remove that part. So at the moment, I am the only person that has the lidocaine, the only company that has the lidocaine without the grit.
I'm so proud of you. Like I hope you feel it too. Like I know I could say it enough, but I hope you know how amazing you are because you don't understand how much you've affected other people, not just in the spiritual world and the gifts that you've been able to help other people harness, but in the tattoo world and bringing new products to help people express
Thank you. You
themselves
know,
in an
when I first
artistic
came into
way.
the tattoo
Like it's like
industry,
you're
I
just
would be so upset by the
everywhere.
end of the
I'm actually
convention
gonna like I'm so proud of
because
you.
people were just, you know, it's not the same as the spiritual community which I came from. Let's just put it that way. And so I would get very upset, and then my feelings would get hurt and all that kind of stuff. And I had to sit and meditate and be like, why the fuck would you put me in this industry? Like, why? And I finally got it. I'm creating a family of artists that really need it. They're looking for something. They're looking to belong. And even though they belong in the tattoo industry, it's sometimes very segregated. So I'm creating something that gives them camaraderie, a family, that kind of thing, which now I understand why I'm here.
You're there for so many more reasons, but I'm so glad that you're doing what you're doing. Just
No,
keep it up, girl.
this was wonderful. Thank you.
Go. I want to thank you, Stacey, for joining us. I'm so blessed to have had you on and for you to share your story. I hope that it inspires others to kind of let go of the need of control and know that the universe is always trying to guide you to the place you're always supposed to be. And I wish you all the best of week and love infinitely, my friend. Thank you so much for watching. If this week's message spoke to you, please share it so that it can help someone else too. If you need advice or are interested in being part of the show, you can DM me on Instagram or email me at jojosinfiniteuniverse@gmail.com. Until next time, love infinitely, my friends.